Hi guys, today we're going to make our foldable for seasons. So you need a piece of paper like this, and then you do need to have some different markers or colored pencils. We're going to be putting some information on here. If at any point in time through this video you need to pause it so that you can catch up with where I am, please feel free to do so. I will try to go slow, but I know for some of you my slow is still just a little bit too fast, and that's okay. So with the video, you can pause it. All right, so the first thing I want us to do is we're going to take and turn this over, and we're going to take the September portion and we're going to fold it up to the point on March. And we're going to make a triangle, just like this. Then I'm going to go ahead and turn this over, and I'm going to fold this in so that I'm making another triangle. And what I see is I have a southern and a northern, or on the other side, I have June and September. Okay. So now I'm going to fold it one more time for a triangle. This gets us all of our folds except for a couple, and then we don't have to go in and fold it a different way. All right. So once you've finished with this, go ahead and open it up. We're going to open it up and we're going to lay it flat so that the words are facing up. All right. So here we have all of our points. Unfortunately, when I set this to the printer, it did not exactly print correctly. So some of my lines are just a little bit off, but we can still make it work. So you're going to take, and we're going to start with September, and let's fold September up to that point in the center, like this. We're basically making the base for a fortune teller. Okay, and then we're going to fold December up. And then we're going to fold in March. And the last one will be our June flap. And June, for some reason, doesn't want to fit just right. But that's okay. We can still make it work. Okay. So once you've got that, we'll be ready to go. The first thing that we need to do is for you to get a yellow highlighter. There should be some yellow highlighters at your table. Grab one of those. All right. We're going to put our sun in here. So let's go ahead and color in a sun here in the middle so that we can see that the earth is revolving around the sun. I don't know about you guys, but I still get tongue-tied on revolving and rotating. I have to think about it sometimes. So we'll get my sun colored, and you're getting your sun colored. All right. So I'm going to draw a few lines coming out so I know this is a sun and not just a big yellow blob in the middle. All right. Now, when we have our picture like this and we have our sun, we know that there are parts of these globes that are lit by the sun. So we're going to start over here in June. We know that this portion here that is leaning more towards the sun is actually going to receive more sunlight. So we're going to go in and we're going to color in this portion of the globe. Okay. And then over here in December, we have the same type of thing happening where we have this portion that's closest to the sun is receiving the sunlight, and the other portion right now is not. Okay, so these two are fairly easy. These two can be a little more complicated, and I like to look at it as if I'm standing over here and I'm looking at it this way. So when I look at it this way, I know that my sun is shining on the whole face of this globe. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to color in all of this. But when I look at this globe, the sun is coming from this direction and shining on it this side. So this side here that I'm actually seeing, it's in the darkness. It's kind of like at night. We don't see anything happening there. All right. One of the first things that I want to do is to go in and label what seasons we have happening at certain places. We know that the Earth has two hemispheres, a northern hemisphere and a southern hemisphere. And in the month of June, the northern hemisphere is experiencing summer. And in December, the northern hemisphere is experiencing winter. In March, we get to take off for spring break in the northern hemisphere, so this is our spring. And so then that means that in September, the northern hemisphere is in fall. Some of you might know the word autumn. Okay. So those are our hemispheres for the northern. Now let's go in and label our southern hemisphere seasons. They're the exact opposite of what we are experiencing in the northern hemisphere. So here we are experiencing summer. So the southern hemisphere is in winter. If we're in winter here, then the southern hemisphere is in summer. When we experience spring, the southern hemisphere is experiencing fall. And when we're in the fall, the southern hemisphere is in the spring. Okay. So we have this information. Which way does the Earth revolve around the sun? Counterclockwise, correct. So we're going to go in and we're going to draw our arrows to indicate which way the Earth is moving. Okay, so I'm going to do a line here. And I'm going to put a couple of arrows so that I see that it's moving that direction. And then I'm going to come in over here. And I'm going to draw this. Again, with a couple of arrows. Continue down here. And then we're going to go to our last place, which is here. So this circle is showing the revolution of the Earth around the sun. So we're going to do revolution. And we said that the revolution goes counterclockwise. It takes 365.25 days for the Earth to travel completely around the sun and make it back to the point where it started. This for us is equal to 1 year. Okay. So when we go in through this, then we also want to look at our rotation. So I'm going to go down here to the September globe. And I'm going to draw my little arrow this way so that I see that it's rotating counterclockwise. And this is going to be my rotation. Rotation takes 24 hours. And it takes one whole day. So one of the ways to think about this is that rotation gives us our night and day, and revolution gives us our year or our seasons. Okay? All right. So just a side note and a question. If I were to travel around with my globe from June to December, how much time would pass? 6 months, correct. And how many days is that? 182.5, correct. All right, so let's go in and let's look at the information that we have underneath. So for June, we are going to call our solstice and our equinox June 21st, or we're going to use the date of the 21st. It can sometimes be the 22nd or the 23rd. It really depends upon the year and when the leap year happened. But on June 21st, in the Northern Hemisphere, we have what is called the summer solstice. That means we have longer days and shorter nights. And on this particular day, we have the longest day and the shortest night. In the Southern Hemisphere, they're experiencing the winter solstice, where they have the shortest days and the longer nights. So again, it's opposite. Okay. Over here in December, we need to go in and put our date. It got cut off. So on December 21st, in the Northern Hemisphere, we have what's called the winter solstice. And this is where we have shorter days and longer nights. If you think about it, when we leave school, it tends to be darker. And when we get to school, it's still kind of dark, so we don't have as much daylight in the winter. And then in the Southern Hemisphere, they have the summer solstice with the longer days and the shorter nights. Okay. And then let's go ahead and go to our spring equinox. In March, we have the Northern Hemisphere is experiencing the spring equinox. And that EQU, or equal, we have day and night are equal amounts, meaning they're about 12 hours and 12 hours. In the Southern Hemisphere, they are experiencing the fall equinox. You need to write this one in because I forgot to put it in. Okay, so the fall equinox occurs here. And again, day and night are equal. Then in September, we have the fall equinox for the Northern Hemisphere and the spring equinox for the Southern Hemisphere. And we have the days and nights are equal. Okay, so what you're going to do with this foldable is you're going to take and place it in your journal. Go ahead and glue it in on a page, the next clean page, so that you have these notes on rotation, revolution, and our seasons, and what it looks like if we represent it with a picture.